What is up, everybody? Hey, we're gonna do an extra stream here today because I was gonna sit down, do some game development, and I thought to myself, you know what? I should share this with the folks. So let's get into this here. Working on some Unity stuff on my game here, and I thought, hey, why not stream it for those who are interested in game development, and particularly with Unity, obviously here. And hopefully, if you got any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. I got a very specific thing that I want to address here today on this. This game is very far through, but I did find myself with a problem. And the problem is with really big numbers. And this is a bit of a silly thing on my part, because as I was developing this game and working out all the systems, it never entered my head really that anyone would allow any particular value to reach a really massive number. And by that, for the developers, I mean basically going out of bounds on an integer, which will flip it to the minus eventually. So that's a problem, but that's not the problem I'm going to work on here. The problem I want to work on here today, right now, before I figure out how to address that, is with the display and the display of really big numbers. And I'm going to give you an example here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and play my game here, playing this in Unity, and I'll show you what we're going to do. And so this is all fine and good and everything's wonderful. And then I'm going to go in here and change some numbers, right? So you can see we've got 1016 here, no problem, right? But what if I've got a really big number, like let's say this number here, right? Or let's randomly type in some extra numbers. You can see this is going to get really big really fast and unreadable. And I've solved this problem before, and you're going to see what I'm doing here. Many games solve the problem. We're going to break this down into thousands, millions, billions, trillions, and so on, just to keep this nice and clean, and to allow the numbers to expand without having to be concerned about interface problems. So that's what I'm going to do here. And so we're gonna dive into this. And what I've done, I previously built a class, and I'll bring it up here so you can see it. Give me 1 second, and I'll open up Visual Studio here. Wait for it to open up. Okay, I'll bring it over here. All right, so this is just some code that I brought in from another game that I wrote. Gosh, I'm not even sure how many years ago at this point. And I've got two functions, and this is not very well optimized at the moment because I literally brought this code in, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, something like that. And it's two functions in my string utilities class, and what it does, it takes a decimal here, right? And I will need to update these because this is part of the sort of the situation. You'll see later on if I get that far in this string with regards to the big numbers. The numbers at the moment are integers, so we may have to switch this back to integers, but we'll see. And there's two functions, right? Obviously, this is not very optimized. This is really not the way this is going to look on the final code, but it'll do for now as I work through the problem. And we've got two functions: get decimal display with number, and get display number with decimal, and get display number. In some cases, I'm going to want the decimal for things like the cost of web coins and so on. For others, like newbies, script kiddies and that, you can't hire half of a person, right? You can either hire the person or not. So those need to be whole numbers. That's why I've got these two functions here. So with that, I'm going to drop that down here. I've already got this class here. And the way we can very simply update this, right, is I'm going to go over to my canvas here. I'm using FlowCanvas with the Flow script. Nice little bit of mess there. I'll explain that at some point. But there's two ways I can go. I can either attach an instance, and I'm going to do it so you can see the code here. This is the code that updates and displays the count or how many newbies I have, right? It's very straightforward. I go to my game controller, I get the variable, and I format that to display it as text, right? That's all it is. Now what we can do here to make this better, and in fact let me go ahead and delete that group, is I could at this level attach the string utilities and call it there. Now the thing with that is, and I'm going to show it here so that you can see it working, but the thing with this is it's going to be needed throughout the entire game, multiple places, right? So it makes more sense to attach it once at a higher level. Think of it as being a singleton in programming terms, right? I don't need multiple instances of this string utility class spread all over the code base, because basically it'll take up memory, and I don't need to be doing that, right, for the optimization. So what I could do is I could go back to my game controller, right, which I've already got a reference to here, and on my game controller what I can do is you'll see here's all the code base, right, and here's all the variables and everything else. But I could attach it. Let's close up all of these so that you can see this. We're going to collapse all the components. On here on my game canvas, I'm going to actually apply this once, and we'll call it there, so that anything in this scene which has the game canvas, it's going to be available, right? I can use it there, and I've got that working instance. So I'm just going to attach that there as my string utils, right, script, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna lock that in place there so I don't lose it. I'm going to go back to my newbie count display. So where do we want to do this? Well, what we don't want to do is actually change the values. For those of you who may be familiar with programming and programming patterns, kind of like to adapt and use that MVVM, right? Model, view, and view model approach. So I don't want to change the data. The data should stay as it is, because I only need to adjust this number for display purposes, so that all calculations and everything else, the game saves and all of that stuff, stays intact. And actually I'm seeing I got a problem here. Sorry, hang on a minute. I've just realized I am not showing you the desktop. Give me 1 second. Oh my goodness, how silly of me. Hold on 1 second. Well, I turned it on. There you go. Wow. Let's quickly recap that. That's bad. That's pretty bad, right? Showed that it was, my Stream Deck showed that it was turned on, but apparently not. So yeah, here's the scene again, right? This is the number we're looking at. I'll just quickly play it. It's going to retain the data here. So we're talking about these big numbers, right? I'm going to make this look better. So back on my canvas, here's the code. And sorry, let me show you very quickly what I was talking about here. These two functions, right? Really horrible code right now, but it works. Get display number with decimal, get display number, okay? And it's just going to take the number that we put in and format it nicely. So where do we want to put that in here though? And where we want to put that is right here, right? It's right in there. Because we go to the game controller, we get our variable, right? We're going to say, how many newbie developers do I have? Once I've got those, we're going to say, all right, okay, let's now display that. And that's what it does. It displays it, but it's displaying that raw number. If I play this, thanks to this here, you're going to see these live numbers coming through. So I'm going to play the game and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So here's our number, right? It's going up 1 per game tick. If I go over to the canvas, you're going to see this code, this yellow line here, shows me that the code is running. And here's the number, right? There's the live number right there, updated. So this is where it goes to display. We want to format this. We don't want to format it at the data level. We only want to format it at the display level. Like I say, you know, a view model. We're going to stop this here. And what I'm going to do is I've got the string utilities here on my game canvas, and I'm going I'm going to drag this. This is one of the nice things about doing visual coding. Yeah, you know, certainly you can write this by hand, absolutely. But this is great for just prototyping stuff, putting it out there. I mean, you can use this in production, not a problem. But this is just great for quickly hooking up the parts and testing them out, right? So here are my functions, as you can see: get display number with decimal. As I was saying, you don't want to have a partial hire. You can't do that. You can't hire half of a person. So we need to use the full numbers without the decimal, right? So we're going to call this function. Now, when I click on this, it's going to add that node to the display for me, which is great because that's exactly what I want, right? So I'm going to delete that group. And now all I need to do is, when I drag this off of here, I'm now saying take that value, pipe it into my function right here as the number, and then take that value that comes out of that function, the return, and make that the text that gets displayed. Okay? Let's go ahead and run this again, see if we get an error because it's a decimal, even though the variable is an integer. A lot of the time, it's smart enough that FlowCanvas will do the conversion for us. So that's great. And you can see this going in here, right? So we've got the raw number going in. It's calculating based on the function what that should look like. And it says, oh, that's 10.3 million, right? You have 10.3 million newbies. So if I run this here, you can see it's now displaying it beautifully, 10.3. And of course, I can demonstrate how it looked previously by, if I do this, you can see, right, this number here, not looking so good, right? This is the old way of looking at it because I got to hook it up to each of these displays. But we're going to let this tick here so that you can see how this goes, right? So I'm gonna buy a bunch of newbies here, right? Well, hire, I should say. Sorry, hire. So as I hire them, every game tick I'm now getting 31. I want to make this go up so you can see the numbers increase quickly. Right? I got some hacked up data here, obviously for development purposes. You're not going to be able to cheat like that in the real game. But if you watch, when we get to 1,000, this should change to basically 1K, 1.01K, and so on, as opposed to this horrible looking number down here. So let's let this run for a second. Here we go. So we're going to get to up here to 1K. And now it formats it, right? Why is it doing it like this? Well, because of the code here, right? Let's take another look at this code, see what's going on here. So the number coming in, right? If the number is more than this and less than this, return it with a T. Basically, we're saying take that number, appropriate to the commas to set up the values, right? So in this case, 1,000. So if you look down here, you know, we've got 0, and then in this case 0.00k, because when it's less than 1,000 we want it to return just a number, because we want 1 or 0 to 999 to look exactly like that. But once we get over 999 we want to put the k in, right? So it's now, you know, whatever the number is with a comma followed by point, whatever the number is, with a K on the end. Okay, and then we're going to trip up to the millions, billions, trillions, and I've got to complete the code there for obviously the really big numbers. But you get the idea. That's what's going on there, right? And all of that just because we piped in this new function in the middle here, take that value, convert it before we display it. So now what I need to do is sit here and basically do this for the rest of the numbers, right? So that was the newbies, so that one's done. The script kiddies here, the count display, right? Same deal. You can see this is a lot of repetition on code for these right now. Again, this all needs to be optimized when we start to look at the production builds, you know, for the end releases. I'm just going to delete that group to make this easy. And again, I'm just going to drag this. I've got this. The reason this is still saying game canvas, in case you didn't know, and here's a quick tip if you're new to Unity or not familiar with this. If you hit that little lock up there, that is saying, look, whatever I click on, whatever game objects or assets, whatever I click on, go ahead please and just keep the inspector pointing at that, at the game canvas, so that I can keep it here and just drag this in like so. Gonna go in, find the same method, right? Get display number. Again, I'm just gonna unhook it from here, hook it into the number, and then hook it up back there again, like so. So now, when I run this again, just to show you that hopefully, hopefully I got this right, you should see this come up. There you go. So we've got over 1 million script kiddies, right? There it is. You can see it. You can see it working there. Now, there are some calculations that need to take place because, and some fixes for some numbers, because obviously if I have got less than 1.01 million, you can see it's going to show as 1 million, right? So again, there's some fine tuning that needs to take place. This code came in from another game here, and let's take a look at this actual number, right? So the actual number you can see here is only going to show as 1 million because of the formatting. So we do have some work that we need to do on the code for this particular instance. Just so you know, the code that I took this from, the game that I was working on, was actually using monetary values, so they were always decimal, and therefore it always showed the point, to 2 decimal points. Okay. And then eventually, once we get over 1.01, we're going to see that obviously come back in here. Again, we need to boost this number here. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to cheat a little bit here because I can, because I'm the developer. And in the IDE, we can actually go back in, we can find what we're looking for and adapt this, right? So you, on the canvas here, on the game canvas, I can actually go in, and this is one of those nice things, right? So this code is running here. You can see like all these little, this is what I love about visual coding. You can see all the values and the flow of the code and where anything's broken. But what I want to do is get these blackboard variables here, and I'm actually going to set this to be, let's do 9999, right? So let's go back to the game. You can see it's now going to go over 1.01. Little detail there, got to work that through the code. But for right now, what I want to do, my goal here in this session, to update all of the displays to pull in this new library. So as I fix that code and as I expand that code and make it better, I know the display is hooked up and I can see it working, and I can just work on the logic for it. Right, so we're going to stop this here. Let's go back. So that's that one done. Let's go on to the professionals here. Again, same thing, right? This is going to be a rinse and repeat for all of these displays. And in fact, let's experiment with this one. I'm going to do a little experiment. I want to see what happens if I get the number with the decimal display, in case you're wondering, why do you have these two? So let's go ahead and look at this. I'm going to, with the professionals, I'm going to put that one in there. We're going to run it, and then I am going to fix the numbers here. I'm going to adjust the numbers for testing purposes so that you can see those professionals, those professional numbers change. Let me find, I'm looking for the right thing. Go over to our canvas. Look at our blackboard variables. So for professionals, professionals count is currently 0 because I haven't hired any. We're going to make this just some number, right? Like so. Nice big number there. I'll go back to the game. You're going to see that it's still showing 1.24 billion, but if I hire them again, because it's not going to figure out the calculation, It's not going to figure it out there. But I want to make sure I'm using the right function, because later on, as I work the code, I don't want to be hooked up to the wrong function and find that suddenly something's not working. Because for things like the dark web coin in this game, I need that decimal value. I don't need it here. And as I change that code for the display of the full numbers, I don't want to accidentally break something else, right? So it's always good to just think a little bit, think ahead here. It may be that what may end up happening is that these two functions will come together, and an argument that I send to the parameter argument that I send to the function determines which display method it uses. That would be better because, I don't want to repeat the code, right? Dry DRY, don't repeat yourself. So that's probably something that I'm going to look at here. But for now, I just want to get them hooked up to the functions, and then I'll worry about the function content later on. So I'm just going to sit here for a little bit and go in here and change these. If you have any questions, please feel free. Just ask away in the chat. If you're wondering why these are grayed out, they're grayed out because they're not currently being displayed or active, right? If I turn on the machines here, because it's not active, you're not seeing it. Now I'm going to turn off the hackers because I don't need to see them at this time, but I do need to now go in and say, okay, if I want to see this here, and I really don't need to see it for what I'm doing, but if I wanted to, I would need to uncheck this here, so that I'm now seeing in the inspector what I've got selected, and check this to turn it on, right? And then you'll see that highlights over there, in case you wonder, like, why is that gray and you're not familiar with Unity. So what I'm going to do, save me some trouble, I'm just going to copy that node so I can paste it in, hopefully without any issues on each one. So we're going to put that one in there, paste it in. And the reason that I've rearranged them like this, I just like it to be very visually readable, right? I can see the flows without having to follow crazy spaghetti everywhere. Okay, that should be all of those displays, but that is not the end of the story, because we have other areas that we need to see as well. I'm going to turn the hackers back on, because we'll also need to see that covers these numbers, and it covers it on the machine tab and on the network tab, but it does not cover the dark web coins and the hacking power, which can have a decimal value. So what we're going to do for those, these ones actually exist. We're going to go in here. There is an area up here broken down. So the game canvas is really the big picture, right? But the master stats is actually, turn it on and off. Here, 1 second, I'm going to uncheck that. Game canvas back on. I checked the wrong thing. There we go. The master stats panel here is actually, as you can see, that entire top section of data and buttons. So these are the ones we need to look at. So again, we have these here, but we're going to use the alternative one this time because I need the decimal. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's actually possible to have a, let me make this easy. We're gonna reset the game here. It is actually very possible to have a partial coin, right? Just like with Bitcoins, for example, and just like with any money, you can have, they're not full values, right? You don't have, you know, like in the case of the dollar, you don't have $1 and you could have $1.00, but you can also have $1.17. So we actually need both, right? I'm gonna reset the game here. So we start over here. See what I'm saying there, right? I've got 0.006, 0.001 for the hacking power. So for these, we need to have those values displayed correctly. Now, this will be fine for a very long time, right? It'll take a very long time for both of these numbers to overflow into the UI. But it is better to deal with the problem now, since we know it will be a problem. If you played this game and let's say you've been playing this game for, you know, hours and hours and hours, days, months, you know, maybe even years, who knows? You're going to have big numbers. And so therefore, we know at some point we're going to have to format those big numbers. It makes a lot of sense to format them now. And that's what we're going to do. So again, I'm going to take the dark web coin count here. And you can see it goes straight into a string. If I play this again, you'll see this happening on the canvas. This happens, the calculation happens on every game tick, right? So you can see here 0.7, Of course, we're going to get to 1, but then it goes over and gets displayed as a string, right? Again, formatting the value for display, not changing the value in the game data in the model, right? That would be bad. So I'm going to show you what's going to happen here if I use the wrong one. We're going to go back here. Let's get our game canvas controller. Let's just hook that in place there. And then let's go back over to our dark web coin count. Bring that instance over here. I'm intentionally going to use the one that doesn't have the decimal, and let's see what that does for us, right? Put that in, plug it in like so. Let's run it again. See how we've lost that partial value, right? We know it's not 1 because we look over here, it's actually 1.26, right? And because of the formatting, as it comes out, it gets formatted to 1. That's not what we want for this. That is why I made the 2 different functions. So he says, hoping that the other one works. It should. So I'm going to use the other one with the decimal. Plug the number in. Put it up here. Again, let's just make this nicely presented, but we want to do it so we can see the number. There we go. Fingers crossed. There you go. So it's back, right? 1.72. Everything's coming in, but it's getting formatted nicely as the stringer goes out. Let's now test that it does exactly what we want it to be with the bigger numbers though, right? So to do that, again, we need to falsify some values here. I'm gonna go back in and let's say for my dark web coin count, I gotta find it on the list here. Dark web coin count, there it is. Let's now make it 900. There we go, 900.234. So go back to the game. When we get to 1,000, we'd like to see the 1K. I'm anticipating this one may not have the same issue with as far as the 1.001 and so on, but let's see what happens. So to do that, we gotta make this work quicker. So I'm gonna buy some items. I'm gonna buy a booster here. There we go. So it's gonna drop my coin count. Don't worry, it's gonna go up because I've got more resources. Just in case you're not familiar with it, the way this works, right? In this game is each of these resources on all of these tabs have different multiplier values for the dark web coin, and they all get added together and some calculations take place to calculate how many coins you have. So you will see that this will go up quicker as you have more resources. That's the whole point of this, right? So we're going to boost these values. Yeah. Let's get some more. And also, it now tells me I'm getting 29 newbies hired. 29 newbies recruited per hack, which means it's a lot easier to hire new ones because I get 10, right? 10 newbies are converted to hires for script kiddies, and so on and so on. So as I do these, the values go up for the dark web coin. So you're going to see this go up quicker. It's not going to take us long to get there eventually. And here's a little game tip for you here. Should you choose to play this once I release it, the higher the tab, and the item on the tab, obviously the bigger those numbers are, because as you can see, you need a lot more resources to get them, so the reward should be bigger. Because I'm doing development here, I can boost these numbers and get free root access just like that because I bought them, right? So if you've got 120 dark web coins, you can buy a root access. And obviously, goes without saying, because it's got to be harder, this value goes up, as you can see over here for the dark web coins. Look, here's another value we need to fix up for display. So you know, it's meant to cost you more, right? It's progression within the game. Plus, this random events down here, I just gained a one level one network access, which you can see now over here. I just got that because of a random positive event, right? My hackers did a good job. Thank you, hackers. So we're gonna boost these values up here. Quickly get up over the coin value that we need. Right, so you get the idea. You can see that this value is now going up quicker, and of course my hacker power increases with the more resources I have, all of which comes into part of the gameplay later on. But let's go back over to our canvas here, and again we're going to now make this work quicker for us. Dark web coin count, I'm going to say I have 950 and some change. There we go. Go back to the game. So we want to get up over 1,000. So we're going to let this tick now for a minute. It's not going to take us long to get there. Hopefully what we're going to see is, like I say, 1K, so on and so on. Okay, so there we go, 1.00K. Now let's go look. So 1.01, see how this is making a lot more sense to have that decimal in there, right? So if we go back to the game, let's jump over here to our dark web coin count so we can look at that script. You can see now, right, it's formatting it nicely. This makes a lot of sense. It's working correctly as far as I can tell, at least at this time, as far as that display. So that's cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back over here. By the way, in case you wondered what this panel is, anytime the game goes to the background, because this is an idle, basically an idle game. So anytime the game is in the background and comes back to the foreground, whatever device you're playing it on, it's going to do a calculation. You are earning newbie hacker resources while you're not playing the game. That is the whole point of an idle game, right? But it's going to be 0 if it's less than 1 minute. It's based on minutes. So you got to be away for, not playing the game, either close the game, quit the game, or the game just goes to the background on a mobile device or something like that. And when you give it focus again, or you pull it up to the foreground on a device, it's going to calculate for you how many resources you got while you were not playing it, and then it's going to tell you, right? So you don't have to. That's what I like. That's why personally I love idle games. You do not have to be constantly playing it for the game to be doing something for you, and that is the whole point of this, right? Is play it without having to play it constantly. Of course, there are benefits to playing it. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you what they are. Some things do and do not happen while the game is in the background. That's for you to discover. A lot of this as well is I want you to have fun discovering things with it, right? It is not, if I tell you everything about the game, I feel like that takes a lot of the fun out of things. And I want part of the fun for you to be the discovery process. And it is a discovery process for me. Just because I know all the math that takes place on all of this doesn't mean that somehow I'm gonna win there's no end point to the game here. I'm not gonna win. I'm only gonna make decisions the same as you are, that it's either gonna progress me quickly, progress me badly, benefits or punishments, depending on those choices, same as the rest of you. Because originally the idea of this game was I'm building it for me. This is a game I wanted to see exist, so that's why I'm making it. And therefore, I don't want to know the outcomes of everything, right? The choices that I make are, like I say, as beneficial or punishing as the choices you will make. That's why I love playing my own game. That is why I built this thing. right? So let's quickly boost this up, right? You can see that I can buy multiple ones of these because I got enough coins. And because I've done that, we now see that the dark coin count goes up quicker, right? So that's great. It's working for this one. Let's do the hacking power one now, because that one's going to have the same problem. So we're going to go over here. Here's the hacking power count. Let's look at the canvas for it, right? We now know, okay, we know how this works, right? I'm going to put in the function that I've made. Number with decimal. Drop it in there like so. We should now be good. Now, again, I'm going to have to cheat here at my own game to make sure that it gets displayed correctly. Because we don't want it, trust me, again, this is a progressive game. We don't want to sit, it won't take actually that long to get to 1,000, but, you know, I'm not going to make you sit here and wait for that to happen. So we're gonna cheat here a little again so we can test this. Go back over to the canvas, look at the variables, and we are looking for one. Here's my dark web coin count. We are looking for my hacking power, which I gotta find here somewhere. Let's hacking power right down here at the bottom, right? So let's make that 950. We've only got to get 50 more. See how it was in the background here? I was away from the game, so I got 29 recruits, right? So we need to see this go over 1K here. For those of you curious, later on I will be doing Swift development, which is what you know, majority of the streams on this channel are for. I love working on my game at the weekends in my spare time, and like I say, I figured, hey, I should share it with you all. So don't worry, tonight's scheduled one will still happen. Well, unless the internet dies, and then it won't happen. All right, let's hire some more here. So you may be wondering, while we're watching this go up, how does this all link together? Your hacking power determines your successful outcome on different things within the game that I'm still building, and I'm not going to share all of them with you. There is one very obvious one, which is boss fights over here, and you can see that currently you need 1,000, or this boss's hacking power is 1,000, right? So I'm not going to give away any secrets here. You need to be at least 1,000 to stand a chance of hacking this boss and beating them. And I'm not going to say any more about the boss fights at this time. Just going to leave it at that. Because I'm a terrible tease. But I don't want to tell you, I don't want to spoil the fun. Good morning, Coco Type. How are you doing, buddy? How has your morning been? Hey Coco Type, you'll appreciate this. I think the first 15 minutes or 10 minutes of the stream, I totally forgot to share my screen. So I'm talking away about code and stuff in the game and forgot to share the display. So nobody's going to have any clue what I'm talking about. Hey Coco Type buddy, if you could do me a favor and let me know if the music's too loud or too low compared to my voice, I'd appreciate it. All right, we're getting closer here to the 1K, right? So let's see what we can buy here to speed this up a little. This one here, let me talk about this one, right? So you can see I've got information under here. Each purchase that I do here increases this number, 12 per hire. So if I buy one here, right, I now get 13 per hire. I think you see how some of these work. So I'm gonna hire, if I now click it, I'm gonna get 14 here instead of 1, right? Prototype says that's the inverse of what I normally do, which is share my stream, but forget to turn on my microphone. Yeah, I've done. We all know I'm guilty of that one too. I found the magnetic attachments come off the cable and I've not noticed, which I know you've been there for previously. Maybe just a smidge loud, but not obnoxiously so. Not so loud that I wouldn't have said anything if you didn't ask. Okay, thank you. But I'll tell you what, I'll knock it a smidge down, and we'll see if that helps. So hopefully it'll go a smidge down. Besides, isn't my voice supposed to be the obnoxious part? I thought. No. Plus, I'm also Cocotype, so you know I'm testing these settings for later on tonight's stream as well. But I'm still having some fun times with my Canon EOS M50, turning the HDMI display off every 30 minutes. Even though, after doing some research online, I found some folks sharing ways to prevent it from doing that, but I don't think it's working. Just saying. All right, we're getting tantalizingly close here, right? And again, just to emphasize, as you play this game, these will speed up over time. That's the whole point, progress, right? And I don't want progress to be too fast, and you don't necessarily have to wait for these values to be specific points to do anything, right? As I've said before, like I don't have to buy items with the panel or hire people here. For recruitment, I could spend 100 professionals to get a machine. How do I know that? Because right here it says 100 professional hackers to buy 1 laptop. Let's go ahead and do it. Right. Hopefully I won't lose that laptop. There's a log down here of gains and losses from random events that happen to you, right? So here I lost 10 newbie hackers. Here I gained 1 level 1 network access, and here I lost 1 level 2 network access. Hey, wins or losses, that's what it's about, but it's random. And again, I'm not going to spoil everything. I want you to discover it for yourself. But we are getting very close here, right? Don't want to drown out your voice. The Britishness lends an air of quality and intelligence that keeps people focused on the stream. Woo, that is very generous of you, and thank you for saying that. I want to believe you. Well, okay, let's face it. Maybe the voice will pay off and help until they look at the code, and then we know it kind of loses a bit of that edge right there, right? It's counterbalanced by the Texasness. But at least it evens out. Oh my gosh, I don't know if there's any in there, but I'll let you all be the judge of that. Alright, we're getting tantalizingly close to 1K here. See if this works. So what we're doing here, folks, for those like Cocotype who may not have been here at the beginning, I'm formatting some numbers, right? So that we don't have long streamed numbers come off here. This should go to 1K, and then 1B for a billion, 1T for a trillion, and of course I forgot a million, and so on and so on. That's what I'm doing here. But Cocotype, you will appreciate this, buddy, because I made a terrible mistake with this. I didn't think through a problem, and I'm gonna do a UI Buzz podcast episode on this because I want to warn others to not make the same silly mistake I made, and maybe I'm the only one that makes it. What was that mistake? Well, I guess you'll have to listen to the episode when it comes out. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Well, actually, I guess a bit of a teaser. I did mention it at the beginning of the stream, so if you go back and watch the replay, you'll hear about it. Now I just have to hope Jay isn't watching. It's counterbalanced by the Texas. Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do we say? Jay has a Texas accent. I bit in there. I don't know. I guess because I'm so used to hearing it. Right? Are you using the real billion or the English billion? These are all fictitious billions, right? And hey, folks, while we're talking about this, you may wonder who we're talking about. You should absolutely go check out, please, go check out and follow CocoType's stream. And we're talking about Jay as well. So, hey Jay Wilson, you should check out their stream. And for good measure, if you like watching people play games and having a good laugh about it and doing some amazing Swift UI, go check out Nutify's stream as well. Just want to put those out there. All right, here we are. We are tantalizingly close to 1K, right? We're getting there. I'm gonna buy some things. Buy all the things. Come on, I just need 3 more hacking power. That's all I need. In fact, we watched Nutify. CocoType and myself watched Nutify complete Arkham Asylum the other night. That was great to see that completed. Here we go. So we're at 1.00K, right? Let's go look at these numbers though. Let's make sure that what we think we're seeing is correct, right? So my hack power, look at the canvas. Yeah, here we go, 0.339 comes out as 1K, right? So, you know, again, it's formatting it nicely as it comes out to the display here. So that's working good. Now, there are lots of other numbers I need to fix in this game with this display. So we know these are probably good now, having checked the numbers. We know these two are good, having checked the numbers. These ones, we should do these too, right, on this panel. And also over here, the hacking power on the bosses, got to fix that up as well. So the lesson learned here is, well, I guess a lesson I learned and forgot from my previous game development is I should have done this from day one. I should have had this formatter in there, but it's okay. Because again, there's no timeline here for the release on this. This is me having fun, enjoying making this game, and it's going to take as long as it takes. But I think it's getting very close to, like I say, an initial release. I have lots of planned features though, but I'm not going to wait to release it before they're all in there. Like I say, for example, a big one that is not in this yet, that was a driving force that I thought was brilliant when, well, I thought it was brilliant. When I came up with the idea of the game is this multiplayer idea, right? So not only trying to hack bosses, but hack other players of the game. And so multiplayer is a big part of this, but I wanted to get the initial game out, the initial core engine of the game running and everything else before multiplayer became part of this, because then I thought, what a great little virtual world where you could all go hack resources from each other and things like that. And I have not worked out all the details. Camera just went out. Thank you. Yeah. Hang on, give me 1 second. I don't know why it keeps turning off. Well, I know why it turns off. It turns off because, well, that's canon. But I'm running an app here that should prevent it from turning off. The hack, in case anyone wonders, but it's not working for me here. The hack is, I learned this on a Google search. If you run the EOS 3 utility, it's supposed to stop the EOS M50, which is what I'm using, from turning off the HDMI out after 30 minutes. But it's not working for me. So I need to look at that hack again. Thank you, CocoType. And also it's getting darker outside, so it's also getting a lot darker on the camera. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to start adjusting the exposure here soon, right? In fact, let me do that now. So hang on 1 second. There we go. We'll crank it up a stop. It's horribly unbalanced right now because of the light through the window and just the way I look. Okay, so let's start by, we've done the master stats panel. That's great. Let's now do by items panel. So I'm going to close up the game canvas here. Actually, I'll keep it open because I'll need to get back there. But let's turn on by items panel. I need to do that. We'll bring this one up so we can see it. Here it is. But before we do that, I'm going to go grab me another drink quickly. So in the tradition of this channel, we all know what time. You do have a very two-faced vibe. I do, don't I? Because the light from the window and again, this is one of those like, wearing glasses, I can't have the light source where I really want it to be because it just puts nasty rings on the glasses. And I can see without my glasses, but I sure as hell can't read on the screen. So I've got the light source off to one side, but it also unbalances. Well, yes, you know, I guess it's a two-faced day and not a Batman day. Would always be Batman, right? Normally what happens, just so you know, see, it'll balance because I'll close the light at the window. But as Coco Type knows, I don't normally stream this time of day. So I'm not used to this weird, like, what is this light thing in the sky? All right. Tradition on this channel, as always, I am going to go grab me a drink. It's caps time. You know it's caps time. And you may even see some little emojis dancing around on the screen if I got this set up right. We'll see, but I will be right back, folks. Move to Seattle. We don't have the sun at this time of the day either. It's not a good incentive. At any time of day, really. Yeah, that sounds true. Constantly from mid-June through August, then goes away until next June. I believe you. Whereby constantly, I really mean constantly. I have photos of the sun at the horizon 11th. Well, you know, I hear that Seattle's the new Alaska. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. And you know what? Let's be honest, Coco Type, coming from England, I feel totally at home with that kind of weirdness. All right, let's open these up. So, again, on each of these, we have a display, right? The cost right here is going to be very familiar if those of you were paying attention earlier on. We're going to go in, we're going to take this again, we're going to look at these, and let's do this one time so I can copy it here. I am looking for game controller. Let's just lock that in there for a second and go back. This one I'm going to need the decimal version, as we know, because we're looking at a currency. That I'm going to copy this. Great, copied it. I can now unlock that and carry on. So let's put this in the display path like we said before. Right, this is all very familiar, safe, well, somewhat safe territory to us. Seattle's weather and London sound pretty similar. Do you get a lot of fog? I don't remember if you get a lot of fog. I think you do, right? I know you're not from London, but I don't have a lot of reference for other microclimates. You know, actually, technically I was close enough that it would be the same climate. Well, actually, all of England just has a shitty climate, so, you know, does it matter? Someone from England's going to be like, hell yes, it matters. All right, let's, wait, I'm from England. Whoops. Let's check this. We're going to go ahead and run the game here. Need to get this cost up here high enough now to be over 1K. Not going to be that hard, I don't think, right? Because we're going to cheat. We're going to go back over to our game controller here. And because, you know, again, I can cheat here. Instead of that, let's make this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 900 dark web coins, which is fine because the very next purchase should tip it over 1,000. So he says. Here's the cost. You can see that the cost, yeah, let's go back. 900, right? And this actually is where things will start to go wrong, because this was something going back to what I was looking at the other day, which is where the formatting should be weird now because of the whole integer decimal thing. But let's see. Maybe it's going to work for us. You know what? Let's cheat. Let's just, we've cheated once, let's cheat twice. I'm just going to make it over 1,000. I'm not going to make us wait. So let's say it's 1,024.76 dark web coins, because that is exactly what it should be. 1.02K. There you go. So great. All right, we can use the same idea here. So we're going to pop open all of these. Here's the first one. Again, I'm just going to copy that. First one's done. Close these up as we go. Put it in for the second one. Pipe it back out to the display. Our work here is done. The only weather I'm familiar with in the UK is, is London, and then one quarry in Wales where 90% of British sci-fi is filmed. Hey, you know, yeah. I'm trying to think back to when they did the early Doctor Who. I think those were quarries in Wales as well. Could be wrong. Hey, it's a lucrative industry. Can't blame them, right? And I think a lot of sci-fi is also done in, is it Norway? Similar reasons. I could be wrong. Wasn't a lot of well, not sci-fi technically, but wasn't a lot of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones done in Norway? Early Doctor Who, current Doctor Who is well, actually, it's probably just the same sets. Yes, it's like, hey, worked back then, it'll work for us now. Yeah. Lord of the Rings was done New Zealand, right? Yes, sorry, New Zealand, Peter Jackson's home country, right? Wait a minute, that's it. That's the conspiracy. He got a kickback from his own country. No, there was maybe I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings. There was something in Norway. I can't remember now. Maybe it wasn't Game of Thrones. I don't know. There was something. I just remember like watching some extras on a DVD once. Remember those plastic discs? And Norway was where they filmed a lot of it. I can't remember. Okay, that's those hooked up. Great. So we've got those in place. We can now go back and turn that off so we don't need to see that one. Look at the boss panel here is not fully hooked up yet because this is an area that I'm actively working on. So this one actually almost doesn't matter right now because I'm gonna greatly be changing the way a lot of this is done. In fact, you can see, I think I may have even just put it in as the text. I think. Hacking power. Yeah, 1000, because nothing's hooked up here. I have not created any data sources or anything for this yet, but I do have. Last count, I've come up with at least 25 bosses. I think. Yeah. Not Norway, but Northern Ireland. Oh, it was in Northern Ireland. Okay, that also makes... Well, actually, I would argue Northern Ireland and Norway very similar. Not in accents, but very similar kind of look to them. If you ever get the chance to go visit Ireland, you should. Beautiful. I have not been there, but I know plenty of people from there, and I've flown over it enough times in planes. Before I go any further, in case Unity crashes on me, I'm going to save it. And a quick tip, if you want to make sure that Unity absolutely saves everything for you, switch menus. Switch scenes, and it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to save it all? Just, yep, and then go back. Because I still experience very random crashes on Macs. This is an M1, by the way. It's an ARM chip, and it is the ARM version, not the Intel version, but I experience very strange crashes. I guess I've been bitten by it enough times that I don't want to get bitten by it again. Alright, so that's those in place. Let me think about this for a second. Is there any other areas? Eventually, I guess it's entirely possible that these labels here, 1 per hack, right? These could go high enough. You're going to get over 1,000. So those probably should be formatted as well. Which, at the moment, I don't have anything in place for that. Those are actually, those values there are just, they get piped straight in. I have to think about that some more. Hoth is the only good Star Wars movie. Have I seen that one? Help me out. Which one is that? One. Wait. where do they actually? Where do they film? Where are they filming? Oh dang it! I've totally forgotten the name of that program. That Star Wars one. The one with. Oh geez. But where's the one with Boba Fett? Where are they? Where do they record that? Or is it, some of those sets are real, right? Of which I must confess I've seen very little of that program, and I really need to just binge watch it. Yeah, let's let this run for a bit and generate some values, make sure nothing weird happens. Actually, you know what? Since I faked up so many values, I am going to start over. So that it's proper data, not cheating data. Oh, you know what? The camera's starting to get really blue too. Maybe it's time to switch to night mode. Hang on. FlowCanvas was filmed mostly in the far-flung locales of Los Angeles, California. I don't think there's any far-flung. Is there far-flung? I can't even say it. With these braces and all these bands in my mouth, I can't even say it. Let's see here. Let's switch over to night mode. Hang on, I'm gonna change light sources here. Let's block out this sun thing, right? Oh look, we're back to normal. This is what it normally looks like. So the sun is to blame for everything. We knew that, right? And it's not so... See, I can't look at the camera and check the monitor at the same time. It's not so Two-Face anymore. Am I back to Batman mode? Is that what's going on here? Andor, however, was filmed on location in the galaxy. Oh, good one. See what you did, and it was worth doing. Let me... I should have seen that coming. Clear everything out. Oh, I should have seen that coming. That is so good. Okay. Everything's back to proper normal values. Great. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna do this for a little bit more, and then gotta go do some stuff. Eat is one of the things later on too before tonight's stream. Tonight's stream will be Swifty Appley things. I just thought I'd do this one today as an extra bonus. I know I didn't get a stream in last week, but also because I wanted to get this done in place so I can think about my problem, which is going to be a pain to solve. Oh, it's going to be a pain. Just always be wary of choosing the wrong types is all I can say, because they'll bite you later on, and that's what happened. Problem? Singular? Oh yeah, well, in the context of that problem being a problem. The plural always applies in my life, as you know. Yeah. And actually, I'm happy to say, well, okay, where's some wood? Hang on. Touch wood. The list of problems here are getting less, which is good, because that was the idea. But this one is a real humdinger of an issue, which is so silly, I can't believe I made it. But that's what happens when you focus on one thing and forget to think ahead. And I still cannot get this to run on iOS devices, but it should. Definitely something to do with persistent data. I actually think specifically it's the first run persistent data problem, but that's just an educated guess on my part. Alright, so I'll give you a little game tip here. If you should one day, firstly, if I should one day release this. Secondly, if on the following day you should play it. A good thing to do is to boost your newbie recruitment rate as early as possible. And that is going to help you get along the way here. Depends how lucky you are here as well, right? I've been lucky enough that I've already gained one level 1 network access, which greatly helps me with boosting dark web coins, which therefore greatly helps with recruiting and everything else. But that's just a little tip, right? Don't neglect thinking about these. Don't just assume that you should go and buy all of these. It makes sense to choose the right ones at the right time is all I'm gonna say from my experience of playing it. Slapped an oof sticker. Did you hear the oof sound, by the way? I did hear the oof sound. Fantastic. I got the volume down very low on my machine here, especially with the music playing in the background, so that the mic doesn't pick it up. And I thought about you all. I'm not using my mechanical keyboard today because as much as I love the sound of a mechanical keyboard, some people don't. So I'm actually using my quiet Apple keyboard, so maybe it's not so annoying for you. Or maybe it's more annoying because you don't hear it and you think that I'm not actually typing this and I'm a bot, which could be true. I would be the worst kind of bot, I think. Alright, so this is all so far, no errors coming up anywhere that I can see. Looking over here on the console, that is not me. None of those are me. Nope, those ain't me. That is FlowCanvas. And this is this is part of the issue that I'm gonna actually fix later on because of some of the changes I'm making. That's probably gonna get to the point that it will be my fault. I did hear the oof sound. It was very oofy. It oofed better than the average oof. I use my mechanical keyboard, and anyone who doesn't like it just doesn't get to watch my stream. I got no problem with that. No problem with that at all. I cleaned blew out my mechanical keyboard earlier. It is sitting here with its very fancy cover. Right? As we all know, I love my drop control mechanical keyboard. Oh, yeah. And I will be using that later on for sure. Plus, I felt that this Apple one was feeling a bit neglected since it only gets used on the jobby job machine during the week. So. This is good. I'm now getting 13 per hack. Three more. Come on. There we go. Apple keyboards deserve to be neglected. Well, some of them, yeah. It's not as good as my, personally, I'm so used to my mechanical one now that that's what I go with. But it is, I would imagine, very annoying. Maybe that's a good thing. Oh, actually, that's a thought. I was gonna say it's very annoying for people on the Zoom calls during the week that hear my mechanical keyboard, but maybe that would get me out of meetings. So maybe I need to use it more. Maybe I need to get the microphone closer to it during meetings. That would get me out of the meetings, right? This keyboard is neglected because it's only used for my jobby job, and everyone knows I barely do anything with it. Shh, you're giving away all the secrets. I guess what I should say is, hey, you know, as an engineering manager, I have to think more than I type. Does anyone gonna buy into that? Anybody? Bueller? No. Even I didn't believe it. All right, cool. This is going good. All right, that is all of that cleaned up. Fantastic. Cross that one off the list. Feels good to have that in place, but I need to complete and optimize that library because the code is very embarrassing right now. Like all of my code. But no, seriously. This was all I needed for my other game all those years ago. In an app store far, far away, yet strangely close. But now I need to go make this good, and this doesn't need to be 2 functions. This can be 1 function for sure. I'm aware that engineering yes. Wait, should that be yes? I roll. I'm aware that engineering managers barely do anything except you, Randy. You're perfect. Okay. Whoever you are, Randy, bless you. Hilarious. It's alright, we can take it. We can take it, you know. I'm gonna close Visual Studio here. I don't need that now. Randy? Wait, see, every time I hear the name, I think of Randy in Christmas Story. Randy! Wake up, Randy. Oh, man. Great, now that's stuck in my brain forever for the rest of the day. That is fantastic. Thank you, your job is done. Randy has to put up with me, which makes him one of the hardest working engineering managers in the country. Well, I mean, hard-working engineering managers, that's such a long list, right? I hope I'm on that list somewhere. I'll take the first, somewhere above the first 5,000, you know, yeah, I'll take that. No more, I'm not going to do any engineering manager jokes, you know, because it hurts my soul. All right, let's get this to save. I'm also, while I'm here, fixed in this version. Let's update this. This is just a debug, not a debug, sorry. This is just for the testers. So I just hard code this. Formatted, format display of large numbers. There you go. Fact, what I should probably do, quick get all the saves in there and commit this before I go any further. Fixed display of large numbers. Awesome. Yes. You also have to put up with me, which is kind of like volunteer freelance engineering management. For some reason in my head, my brain was filling in the blanks and wanted me to say volunteer fire department. Same thing, right? Is that a Freudian slip? Let's see, when did I do the first commit? Back in 5.22 was the first commit on this. Jeez. Well, first code commit. I was thinking about this a lot longer before then, but there you go. Alright, I think I'm gonna leave it there on this. I think I got enough, in air quotes, stable changes in here for now. And then I'm gonna go try and improve my skills before the stream later on. I haven't committed any arson since 2002. Oh, you heard it here first. Hopefully. Or last. I don't know. So, let's see. I will be back in about, what is it? According to my schedule, I'm going to be back in about 4 hours from now to do a Swift something stream. But I'm glad that I did this one. And Coco Type, buddy, I'm always glad when you drop by. You are the voice of reason, and that's a terrible thing in this world to think about that. Again, folks, check it out. Go follow Coco Type, right? I cannot recommend him enough. Or wait, I shouldn't recommend him at all. I don't know which one of those two statements is true. Voice of raisins. Yeah, no. Check out his stream. He's really good at this stuff. But shh, don't tell him. Yeah. And if you are interested, we do have a Discord where we all hang out in there as well. And you can, of course, these days follow me on Mastodon. Please feel free to ask me any questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll make something up because that's what we do as developers, right? Have a great one. Coco Type, buddy. I'll see you later. Fantastic if I don't have a great start to the week. Same for everybody else. If I don't see you later on the next stream, have a fantastic start to the week. But hopefully, I'll see you in a few hours now for the next one. That's it, folks. I will see you then. Take care.